Hello everyone. After a busy time with work and life, Alex and Tuna returned to the familiar farm, the place where they had many memories. This time, the two decided to start renovating the vegetable garden that had been neglected for a long time, where the old vegetable beds were now overgrown with weeds. Every hoe stroke, every hand digging the soil, patching up the old garden, all evoke a feeling of both peace and happiness. In this video, you will join Alex and Tuna in experiencing a day as a real farmer, from weeding, replanting the young vegetable beds, to taking care of every little detail to revive the garden. This is not only a journey to renovate the vegetable garden, but also a meaningful time, helping both of them find balance, building sustainable values from simplicity. If you love farm life, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. After months of being busy building a new house for Tuna, the worries and busy schedules left them with no time to return to their familiar farm. However, today, Alex and Tuna decided to put everything aside to return to the old place, where the small garden was once associated with so many memories. Back then, the garden was always full of life. The rows of young green cabbage, the hanging cucumber vines, the baskets of fresh vegetables that were once brought to the market to sell or served in the family's cozy meals. But now, the scene before their eyes was so different from the past. The old vegetable beds were covered with weeds, the soil was dry and cracked. The bamboo trellis that had been hastily built years ago was now crooked. Looking at that scene, Alex felt both sadness and determination. He and Tuna held hands, carrying hoes, sickles, bamboo baskets, and watering cans, slowly entering the garden. The gentle afternoon sunlight shone down, brightening the smiles on both of their faces. All the fatigue and noise of the city seemed to disappear, leaving only a simple peace. Alex glanced around and then turned to his wife, his voice warm. "You see, this garden has been asleep for too long. It's time for us to wake it up." Tuna nodded, her eyes shining with hope. Yes, this was not only the beginning of renovating an abandoned garden, but also a silent promise. No matter how busy the outside world was, every time they returned, they would still work together to cultivate sao seeds and take care of the simplest things. A new journey had begun, and the once lush green garden would surely revive in the arms of Alex and Tuna. The whole scene was both desolate and vaguely sad. Tuna stopped, quietly looking around the garden, and then sighed softly. The slight smile was still on her lips, but her eyes were filled with regret. "I admit, we have neglected it for too long. It hurts to see it like this, doesn't it?" Her voice rang out, mixed with sadness and self-reproach. Alex stood next to her, silent for a moment, then smiled gently. "Yes, but I believe that as long as we are together, the garden will be green again." That simple sentence seemed to light up the atmosphere. He knelt down, his hand touching the dry, cracked soil. Small particles of soil fell through his fingers, but each gesture still exuded a strong connection with nature. Tuna moved closer, placing her hand on her husband's hand. Their two small but determined hands seemed to be talking to the soil, promising a revival. A gentle breeze blew, stirring the blades of grass, carrying the scent of dry soil mixed with the scent of the field wind. In that moment, Tuna's eyes were no longer sad but lit up with hope. In the middle of the messy garden, they had found the motivation to start over, not only to improve the soil, rebuild the vegetable trellis, but also to cultivate faith and love. The hoe in Alex's hand was heavy, but each hoe stroke was steady and decisive, loosening the hard soil. The soil gradually became loose, as if it had just woken up from a long sleep. Not far away, Tuna patiently pulled out clumps of deeply rooted grass, his hands covered in mud, sweat dripping down his cheeks. But when both of them worked together, each patch of land gradually appeared, replacing the scene of overgrown grass with neat, loose rows of soil. In the gentle sunlight, Alex's smile was radiant, his eyes shining with determination. As their hands touched the dry soil, Alex and Tuna felt the familiar beat of the garden. The sound of the hoe echoed, mixed with the chirping of birds on the branches, like a song signaling the return of a new day. The weeds were pulled out. Each row of soil was piled up neatly. Tuna carefully placed each small seed in the ground, while Alex patiently rebuilt the bamboo trellis. The image of the couple, busy but full of joy, reminded them of the early days of building a new house, when each brick, each hammer blow was filled with love and hope. The garden, to them, was not just a place to grow vegetables. It was also a place to resow faith, to resow connection with nature. And the love between husband and wife was nurtured in the simplest moments. Just a look, a smile exchanged, all the fatigue seemed to disappear. And so, every hoe stroke, every drop of sweat that seeps into the ground, becomes a promise for a green, vibrant garden to revive tomorrow. Only a week had passed, and the once messy, barren garden was now covered in a vibrant green. The cracked beds of soil had now become neat, fresh rows of vegetables. The small mustard plants stretched out in the early morning sunlight, their leaves swaying in the cool breeze as if saying hello. The newly erected cucumber trellis was no longer bare. The young vines had begun to wrap tightly around the bamboo stems, growing day by day, promising a fruitful season. That Alex stood still looking at the garden, the corners of his lips curling into a smile. In the past week, every hoe stroke, every drop of sweat, his and Tuna's muddy hands, all had now been rewarded with the green stretching out before his eyes. In the pale sunlight, he saw his wife bending down, her hand gently touching the young vegetable leaves. Tuna's eyes shone with indescribable joy, a gentle smile on her lips. That image made Alex suddenly feel strangely peaceful. Honey, it's only been a week and I feel like this garden has just woken up from a long sleep, Tuna whispered, her voice filled with emotion. Alex gently squeezed his wife's hand, warmly replying, "Yes, but it's not a miracle, it's our love and hard work." That sentence made Tuna tilt her head slightly and smile, her eyes sparkling, as if reflecting the blue sky, the chirping of birds on the branches, the sound of wind blowing through the leaves, the sound of water flowing from the watering can, all blend into the rustic melody of life. In that melody, there is faith, there is love, there is the companionship of two people working towards a simple dream, to turn a barren piece of land into a garden full of life. In the peaceful scene, Alex and Tuna looked at each other and burst into laughter. Happiness does not come from luxury, but from this very moment, when they clearly see the seeds of hope and love sprouting in the small garden, as well as in both of their hearts.
Không biết kiểu gì. Chưa, nó chỉ bảo là cùng chơi cùng cái đội kia thôi, chứ không biết là cùng có dám chén hay không. Hai con dao để cho nghiên. Lúc nào lại phải